Welcome aboard. I thought what I might do this time is make a short little video on how to install Rattle with R and maybe RStudio as well and get it going. The easiest way to do it is in a virtual machine. So we're going to use an Ubuntu Virtual Machine and use VirtualBox, which is available on all platforms, including macOS, which I'll be using, as well as Windows, of course, and Linux systems as well. If you want to install it that way. The best way to go is to, I think, one of these OS boxes image. And the newer version of Ubuntu, like 20.04 LTS, is probably a good choice. I'll go with an older version for now, just to show you that it can be done with that. There are a couple of modifications along the way. So what we'll do is we'll get the older version by going to this direct link. You can download it, and you'll see that the download will start from here. If you want to, you can go to their website, and at the website, you'll see all the images that they have for Ubuntu, and all of them will have the same password. The username is always osboxes, and the password is always osboxes.org. So we'll be using that once it's downloaded, and I'll pause the video just like in those cooking shows. So the download is happening. I'm going to pause it, and I'll show you the download and unzip. Okay, so the download finished, which was this zipped file by 7-zip. And when it's unzipped, it makes this folder, 64-bit, and puts the Ubuntu virtual disk image in there. And we've got that part done. Now all we need to do is launch VirtualBox and use it in VirtualBox, which we're going to do. Here's VirtualBox. We're going to create a new machine, and we'll call it Ubuntu. We'll put it somewhere that makes sense for us. Right there is pretty good. And we'll say continue. We'll go with the default, no problem. We'll use an existing virtual hard disk image, which is the one that we downloaded. So we'll add that first. And to add it, we'll go to our file system, come over here. Oh, there it is. So we'll go ahead and add that virtual disk image. That's fine. Say choose, and we'll go ahead and create it. Once it's created, there are a couple of things that we'll want to do. We'll, of course, want to add guest editions when we get it going, but we'll also go into display and change the graphics controller, and we'll also set the scale factor. This is so we can actually see what we're doing. And so what we'll do is we'll go into settings, and in settings, we'll go into, oh, you know what? We'll also go into advanced, and we'll do the shared clipboard, set it to bidirectional, so that we'll be able to copy and paste between our host system and our guest system. We'll switch this to VBoxVGA, set the scale to 200. Make sure you're using the latest version of VirtualBox, by the way. Especially with the Mac, there are all these updates, and it usually messes around with it quite a bit. So we'll go ahead and start it. And while it's starting, I'll tell you a little bit more about why you want to make sure to do that. If you didn't update to the latest version, you might get some kind of errors and whatnot. Most of those errors are fixed by just upgrading your VirtualBox to the latest version. And once you have it going, this is like a pretty good size. It's starting to come in. Remember that the default password, which we talked about, is osboxes.org. And let me just make sure that it's getting ready to launch us in. There it is. And we'll type in osboxes.org. Also helpfully tells us over there exactly what it is, the password. And so the next thing that we'll want to do is also add in the guest additions. And the reason for this is that so that we can do, let me put that on show, so that we can do the copy and paste between the guest and the host system. So as soon as it loads up the first time, we'll start to do that. I'll pause. Okay, so it actually came back pretty quickly. So I'm going to go to devices, and in devices, I'm going to say insert guest editions CD image. It'll pull the correct one and pop it in there for us. And as soon as it's done it, it'll say run. We'll say, yep, go ahead and run that guy. And as it runs it, it's going to go through, ask for the password, osboxes.org. To authenticate, it's going to go through and start copying it. You'll say go ahead and do it and press the default of run and enter and all of those other good things when it asks. And I'll pause it now and come back when it's done. Okay, so that took quite a while, but it's done now. And it says press return to close, and then we'll restart. We'll close it, and we'll go down to shutdown and also choose restart. And we'll be right back. Okay, it's now rebooted. So now that we're back in, let's go to the next step. Now we're ready to start installing stuff. So let's start by installing R. Let's grab the update to our sources list so that we can hit the correct repo. And let's go back to our VirtualBox, show it. Let's get a terminal going. So we'll type in terminal and wait for it to refresh. And there's the terminal. And now we should be able to right click and paste. I copied it on the other side, and because we have bidirectional copy set, we can paste it in. And password is osboxes.org. Shouldn't ask us for that again. Now that we've got our repo updated, next thing is we'll get that key set correctly. And let's go back to this guy. And you can also choose edit and paste, of course. Okay, we've got that done. Good. Now we'll do a little update of the OS. Make sure that there's important stuff that needs to get updated gets updated on this guy, especially because we've updated the repo. It gets the places that we're gonna also get the R, the base, R base, R dev, and also the RStudio later on. So the next thing is we're going to install our base. Once that's updated, here we go. And we won't worry about the other packages that need to update. We're only interested in R in this case. So we're going to install the base R package. It says it'll take some stuff. We'll say sure, no problem. And off it goes. Then we'll also do the additional packages that it needs to support a full run of R. And while it's doing this, I'll pause it and we'll come back while the progress is being done. Alrighty, that took a little while, but it's done now. So now we'll paste our update for the other packages that we'll need. We'll say yes, please do all of the above. And similarly, we'll pause it now and come back once all this is done. It's going to go through the whole progress bar again. Okay, so we've got that done. Let's go on to the next step, which is testing the, here we go, the additional installations. Let's add this in and come back to here and pop that in. Say go ahead and install this stuff. We'll say yes, go ahead and get all of that. And our next step will be to launch R, and we'll test the R version. Should be like 3.6 or something along those lines for this Ubuntu 14.04. So we'll come back. Oh, there it's done. Let's just check the R version. And there it is, 3.63. We can now launch R, and we're in R now. Now we need to install the packages like Rattle. Depending on the version that you're using, you could probably just do install.packages.rattle, especially if you're on Ubuntu 20.04 with R version 4 or greater, I believe. But since this is an older one, it's not supported anymore, so we'll install some of the other supplementary packages manually first, which is this one, and then come back to that. This might take a while, so we're gonna, once it starts, we're gonna go away. Would you like to? Yeah, we'll go ahead and use the personal library. We didn't sudo it, so it's not gonna install it system-wide. Just be local. We're all right with that. Okay, so it's going on installing. We'll be back in just a bit. So while you're doing all of these updates. It might ask if you want to upgrade to Ubuntu 18.04 or something. I would say don't upgrade because, we're just interested in running Rattle on here. Depending on if you want to actually use this system, you can make different decisions. I'll just say don't update. And we'll say, yep, we've declined that. It's okay. All right, back to the waiting. All right. As Tom Petty said, the waiting is the hardest part, and man, that took a little while. So where were we? I think we got this part done. So now what we need to do is install Rattle itself, and we're gonna get Rattle from the CRAN archives because it's the older version. We're gonna use the older version of Rattle that's gonna be compatible with this. Again, if you were using a modern version, you just install packages Rattle. You wouldn't need these two at this point. But the downloaded packages are there. Let's put this in. And this should proceed quicker than the other one for sure. And once that's done, what we'll do is we'll also do the RGTK, the toolkit, and we'll get the older version of that as well. And we'll install that directly. If you were getting the newer version again, you'd be able to just use that call. But we'll get it from the CRAN archives. We'll need that to run Rattle as well. And we'll paste that in once this one's done. We'll pause it for now. Actually, I spoke too soon. We didn't need to pause it. It just did it. And here's this guy. Let's pop it in. And once that's done, then we'll be able to load the Rattle library. And if all went well, we will have Rattle up and running. So it's downloaded. Let me pause it. This might take a little bit. All right, so that took a while, but now we're ready to test it out. So let's see. There's the library Rattle, and the next is to launch it itself. Yay. Let's see. And it might pop. Yay. Might want to install some Cairo font. There we go. Yeah, some fonts and whatnot, or the Cairo device. Okay, so we'll say yes. We'll let it do that. And we have Rattle ready to go. We'll go ahead and terminate it. And we'll quit out of R as well. Won't worry about saving it for now. The next step is to install RStudio. So let's give that a go as well. See if we can knock it all out. And here we go. We'll paste that in. And give it our password again. And off it goes. I'll pause it while it does this. And we'll come back again as usual. Alright, that wasn't so bad. Now let's get the package that we need. Let's pop that in. And okay, it's downloading that away. We've got a pretty snappy connection. And then we'll do the actual installation. And let's do that as well. And once it'll be done with that, we'll be able to remove the package that it'll have used. So this is essentially it. I might pause it here to give you the end when it's fully installed, and we'll come back and remove the package, and we'll stop at that point. All right, so that went well. Let's remove the package, and now we're fully done, and we came in under 15 minutes. There's our full installation of R, Rattle, and RStudio on Ubuntu 16.04, I believe. And good luck. Enjoy.